Good morning, folks. So, back when I lived in Brooklyn, there was a time where when there was this full stop. I almost never stopped there, and I would just run through it. But most of the time that I did that, it was like at night. It was like very late at night, so there was like zero traffic. But there's this cop who caught me there 3 consecutive times. The first time, I ran. I drove, I just kept going. I saw the cop behind me, I didn't give a shit. I kept going, and then I turned the corner really quickly on my block, and I parked. And as I got out the car, as I got out the van, I was driving at the time. As I got out the van, he had the flashlight on my face, gun drawn, and says, "Get back in the car." I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get back in the car. So I got back in the car, and he said, "You ran the full stop, and then you then see that I was behind you. I was behind you with sirens on. Why didn't you stop?" I said, "Well, I wasn't sure if you was after me, or you just trying to get to something else. So I just made room for you to go about your business. It's until you turned the corner after me, then I realized, well, you're probably after me." So even though that was like a lie, obviously, because I intended to get out the van and ran, because I lived on that block. So but anyway, that's not the point here. But when he said to get back in the car, I didn't argue. I got back in the car and then asked me for my license or whatever. I gave him my license. He wrote me a ticket. But I knew I was in the wrong. I ran the stop sign all the time. That's just what I did. And then the next day, he caught me again about the same time, like around 3 a.m. in the morning. I used to date this girl that lived in Flatbush, so I used to go there around that time or whatever. Booty call time or whatnot. And so he caught me again the next day. And he said, "So you just really don't stop at the full stop?" And I said, "I think I stopped, but you saying that I didn't. I guess so, or whatever." So he wrote me another ticket. And the following week, he caught me again. And that time I stopped. He basically got out the car, him and his partner. I remember them clearly. It was a white guy and an Asian guy. And he made me get out the car, and he was explaining to me, okay, he took his flashlight and said, "This is the full stop. This is your car. When you get to the full stop, you stop completely, and then you proceed." I was like, "Oh, okay, so I'll do that." But the reason why I'm sharing this story with you is because I knew that I should stop at the full stop. The reason why I never stopped was because it didn't make sense. There was zero traffic coming from this side. There was completely nothing happening on this side. So I couldn't understand why and then there was no traffic coming towards me. So I couldn't understand why was this full stop there. So it didn't make sense to me. So I just never really followed that stop. I just never do. Because there's barely traffic coming from the other side, which would be the left side or whatever. So I never followed it. The reason why I'm sharing this story with you, because I feel like it's parallel to what's happening today. Today they could manufacture any story and force you guys to follow it. Just weeks ago, you were forced to follow social distancing. And weeks later, it's okay. You don't have to follow social distancing because you can go out there and protest and wearing a cloth in your face that really doesn't protect you from any types of COVID-19, any types of virus. But they tell you to wear it, so you wear it. And now you couldn't go to church because that would violate social distancing. But now in the name of protesting, it's okay to gather, large gathering, and go to church. What's that, Burger King? and go to and you couldn't go to church, but it's okay to violate social. I don't know what the heck is that behind me. Anyway, but you couldn't go to church because that would violate social distancing. They violate your religious rights. You didn't even see it. But right now you can gather and in large quantity to protest, and that's fine. It's funny how the same people, the very same politicians that were telling you to not go to church, to not go to the beach, to not go to work because you need to social distance, they're the same ones encouraging you to actually go out there and protest. They're telling you they're with the protesters. They're encouraging you to go out there and protest. No 6 feet, no 6 feet apart, nothing, and there's no virus. It's so crazy to me how they could manufacture a story back to back, over and over, over and over, and they pick and choose which story go viral. It must be analogous to what their current agenda is. It must be German, rather, to what their current agenda is. If whatever story that you have on the internet is parallel or German to what the current agenda is, your story is going to go viral overnight. Your story will be trending on Twitter overnight. And you know, it's just insane to me. I told you that story because when this whole pandemic hit, I never wore a mask. You just can't get me to wear a mask. You know, sometimes if I need to, for specific reasons, I would wear it. But most of the time, I obviously just avoid any place or anything that will do with me wearing one. So I caught this little bug that was in my head. That was in the back of my head. So when I wasn't wearing a mask, people were basically looking at me as if I was, you know, causing some types of fucking problem or increasing the caseloads in the pandemic because I wasn't wearing a mask. What they were really upset about is the fact that I didn't follow the stupidity of wearing a fucking mask. And now they got you out there walking around talking about you can't breathe. You can't breathe. You protesting, you can't breathe. Well, take the fucking mask off. Maybe that would work, right? But it's so funny because people were ridiculing me for not wearing a mask, for still being outside every day and not following the social distancing rules. I just can't seem to make peace or follow shit that just don't make fucking sense. It don't make sense for me to actually, you know, hide myself or, you know, put myself in a little box and then come out and then face the disease head on, as opposed to face the virus and build immunity to it, and then I would be in a better position as opposed to hide from it and then come out and then, you know, potentially catch it, and then my immune system is weakened. So I just never followed, simply because it didn't make sense. And now it makes very much sense why I never follow. I don't take orders from people. I don't like to follow orders. I hate rules half the time. They don't make sense. They simply exist to serve a specific agenda, and I know that very well. You know, so this truck is passing by and it's actually making a lot of noise. But to my okay, I probably need to move out the way. Okay, I don't need to move out the way. But basically, I'm making this video is just to kind of remind people how they should, why it is important to take back your power, because the sun gone away. To take back your power, because the world is a big stage. The world is a big stage. Your politicians, your world leaders, your church leaders, they are all manufacturing your reality as it goes. They're writing the script and they're playing it out, and then they know that you for sure as their audience going to watch the movie, so they premiere a new a new movie or a new reality or new script to you every time. It was. I mean, it started off with a lot of craziness. The whole of 2020 has been nuts. One thing after another, one thing after another, one thing after another, one thing after another. And you know what's crazy? All of this is happening only for the most part because we have one guy in office with a lot of balls, and a lot of people just can't take it. A lot of people just can't take it. So it's you know, I thought I'd make a video, just really much kind of you know, say what I feel about why I don't really follow rules and regulations, because half the time they don't make sense, and if they do make sense, they make sense for the people who write them, and you're simply, you know, following blindly and putting yourself in harm's way for no reason, and emotionally getting worked up for no reason. Pretty much 2020 has been, I think if you were to choose a theme for 2020, it would have to be black rage, white guilt. Huh? Yeah, that would be a very cool theme for 2020. Black rage, white guilt, because it seems like it's very easy to use black people's rage or black people's anger to stir up emotional confusion between race, and white people going to feel guilty about their existence to how things are right now, and about slavery and all the other shit that people worry about, or whatnot. And they could just use that as a way to stir up emotional turmoil. And it seems to work time and time again. So there you have it. I hope you can find in your heart to make peace with yourself. I hope you can find in your heart to become more centered within you. I hope you can find in your heart to understand that the reason why these people are able to play you time and time and time again is because you have not take time to look for yourself. You have not to take time to look for God. You have not take time to understand that death comes to us all, and nobody can escape death. And when you understand and make peace with the fact that death can come at any time, I guarantee you, you will not allow anyone, or no one will have the power to play in your emotions. No one will have the power to play in your fears, because that's the last stop. If somebody tell you you're gonna die, I guess you're willing to do whatever it takes to not die. But if you're okay with dying, all of a sudden they have no power. Cheers.